Hello! I'm glad to share with you my spring reading list. These are the books that I've actually probably had on my list for a long time, and maybe because I tend to read in a seasonal way, there are some of my books that I'm like, you know what, I need to read these, and I'm going to do it throughout the springtime. I'm gonna, of course, add other books as I go. There are a lot of books that I've been wanting to read, and then there are some books that I find out about that I'm like, let's add that in. And it's just a combination. I definitely want to read some classics. I want to read things with flowers. I'm wearing a flowery dress just for this springtime conversation. A lot of these books, I don't even know what they're about, but they've been on my to-read list. And I'm like, I don't remember why this is on my list, but hey, let's read it because it has a pretty cover. I do judge books sometimes by their cover, not completely. I do read the backs of the books or the inside portion. The Garden Against Time. This is a book, I don't know what this is about, but it's pretty. Look at all this. The whole thing is supposed to be about a garden, and it's supposed to mix up different things about gardens. I don't know if it's supposed to be literature, different gardens that you hear about or not. I don't know. I was trying to read up on it a little bit. Let's see. Oh, it seems that the author, this is about her relationship with gardens throughout her life. So that's always fun because I feel like there are so many things in our lives that we can connect the dots to, special moments. So this would be nice. Seems heartfelt. I guess I'll give it a shot. Rose and Bloom. This is by Louisa May Alcott. It's actually the second book from 8 Cousins, and I read 8 Cousins and I thought it was very cute. But Rose and Bloom, I had not read yet. Figured because I read the first book and there are only 2 books in this series, I should really finish it. It's about a young girl named Rose who's traveling the world and she comes back home. In the first book, there are a lot of boys. I mean, it's about cousins, and the time period, you have to understand the time period. There are a lot of cousin relationships during that time. While it seems problematic today, in that time, they didn't bat an eye. They're just like, okay. So I don't know if there is going to be a cousin love in here or not. Anyway, this one's supposed to be about where she's hoping that all these guys will be after her when she comes back. But definitely 8 Cousins was so cute. So Rose and Bloom, please don't disappoint me. Spring, think sakura trees or cherry blossoms. And then you think, well, where do they come from? Japan. So this book has been on my to-read list a long time, by Gail Tsukiyama. I have read almost all of her books. I love her books. So The Street of 1,000 Blossoms, it's about springtime, and it's set in 1939. And this is supposed to be about 2 orphan brothers growing up, and they live with their grandparents. And they both do different things that are very well known and appreciated in Japan. They have interest in these things. And then there are also 2 young girls, but I know that this is supposed to be right before Pearl Harbor, the bombing. And then it's supposed to be what happens after that in Japan for these young men, what life would be for these people that were just trying to live their lives without having to worry about war. I hope it goes well. This is one of my most anticipated reads, I think, this spring. There is this series called Professor Eustacia Rose Mystery. I had the first book in my to-read list since it came out last year, and I guess the second book is either coming out or it came out. I don't really know, but I just know this is the first in a series. And I haven't read a mystery in a while. So Eustacia Rose is a botanical toxicologist, and it's set in London, and she loves being alone with her garden. If you have seen Alfred Hitchcock's Rear Window, I feel like from reading the description of this book that it's got a little bit of that, because she looks through a telescope and she likes to watch her neighbor, and her neighbor has this elaborate life filled with men around her, and so she likes to kind of tend her garden while spying on this neighbor, but then the neighbor dies. And so I guess she is going to try to solve the mystery. Like I said, very Rear Window. Let's go for it. Let's go back to 1926. Lud in the Mist. I don't know if it's Lud in the Mist or Lud in the Mist. I actually have this book. I went and I bought it because I saw it at the bookstore, and look at this cover. If that doesn't scream spring to you, I don't know what does. I don't know what it's about though. I keep hearing this title, but I don't know. I really don't know what it's about. A dark and enchanting rediscovered classic. Okay, so Nathaniel Chanticleer is the mayor of the town Lud in the Mist. What a cool name of a town. Can we name towns like this again? On a quest to bring his children back from Fairyland. Wow, that's pretty neat. A prosperous town of merry and practical people, Blood in the Mist has only one taboo. Its citizens must never, ever become involved with anything or anyone from Faery. And I love how they spell Fairy because it's how I spell fairy, except for I use a Y at the end, but it's Faerie. And I love when Fae is spelled Fae because I really like that. Anyway. To listen to fairy music is a curse. To eat fairy fruit is a horrifying sin. To travel to Fairyland means certain death. And the greatest insult possible is to be called son of a fairy. Even dreamers and musicians are suspect in a land so rigorously devoted to law, the creation of wealth, and plain common sense. But what is life without poetry, music, dreams, or delicious and forbidden fruit? And what will Nathaniel risk in order to bring his children home? With an utterly unique blend of fantasy and fable, Blood in the Mist is a luscious call to each of us to reckon with the strange, shadowy, irrational parts of our souls, or risk losing them altogether. Oh, that is so cool. I picked a perfect book. I have not read a good fairy story in a while either. I used to be obsessed with fairies when I was a young girl. Speaking of fairies though, see, now I'm going down a fairy route. A fairy garden mystery. Here's another mystery too. See, I'm in the mood for mysteries now that spring is here. I need some fairies, some gardens, and some mystery. A fairy garden mystery. This is the second book. I read the first book last year and it was really cute. It's this woman, she has like this fairy that like hardly anyone can see. Only a couple people could see this fairy, and the fairy helps her solve mysteries. It's very cute. So this one, it seems like there is a fight between the main character's friend and someone else. And then there's a lawsuit that takes place. But then I guess the person that she had this argument with dies. Not in a nice way. Like, I mean, these books are not very gruesome at all though, but still, like, murder is not pretty. I hope this will be good. I really think these covers are cute. I mean, there's always, you don't get covers like this anymore. You get like the drawn covers. It's sweet. Eventually I'll read all of them. There are 5 books and the last book came out last year. Those Kids from Fawn Creek. I also haven't read middle grade in a while, and I used to always try to make sure that every month I read a middle grade book. I needed to put one in. And look at this pretty cover. It's cute. All these kids in a creek. What's spring without you going jumping in some water? This book is about a group of kids that go to school together. And it's not a big school, and it's a factory town. Someone that moved out of town and someone that moved into town, so now they have a new kid in class. And she's from Paris. But I don't really know like what else is about this book, so I mean, I'll give it a shot and see. Maybe it's just about the interactions of kids in school. Olivetti. I thought this was pretty cute. I actually found out about this book just this week when Barnes & Noble suggested it for the month. And I said, let me read what this is about. And supposedly it's about this typewriter that had lived for a long time with a certain person, and it's just been sitting around now, and then I guess they donate it somewhere, and now the typewriter has all the different things that the original owner had typed up on it in its memory, in its core, and how it bases its life off of this person that has written everything. It wants to find its original owner again. This again is a middle grade book. It's so cute to think about a typewriter having a story that's unique. So I hope it's good. You figure March just ended, April just started, spring we go through until the middle of June. So we have a lot of time. So we're gonna, I could add some more books. I read pretty quickly. I think I can make this whole list. We'll see, and then add some more, I hope. The Great Good Thing. This is a very small story. I mentioned in my first video that sometimes I read books on the Kindle, and I have had my Kindle app on a tablet for over a decade now, but I don't really like to buy books on Amazon so much, and I get lots of discounts and coupons and free books and stuff like that from Barnes & Noble. Actually, I thought I would get a Nook. So look at my Nook is a spring-like because I thought it was really pretty and I like flowers and plants. I just finished the first book that I got on my Nook, and the second book I just started happens to be The Great Good Thing. It seems very unique. I only read the first chapter so far. It's about this storybook that kind of comes alive, and the characters are doing a play and you watch them on the pages as you read the page, as if they're acting and reading the story for you. Someone closed the book and then you open up and some of the characters, they were kind of like doing something and they have to run back to where they are and then they start talking more again and acting it out. But the reader is so important to them and they want to make sure the reader is captivated. They're not really supposed to look at the person reading the book. It starts out with like a princess and her parents. I thought that was really cute. I look forward to finishing this. Like I said, I already started it. I'll probably finish it in a day or two. It's really cute. And I got the book for $2. So I'll take it. Thanks to all the rewards I get from Barnes & Noble. And I usually check to see if my library has these books first, guys. If they don't have it, that's when I check to see if Barnes & Noble has it. Library takes priority. Okay, so if you've never heard of the Pollyanna series, I absolutely love Pollyanna. I grew up loving the movie with Haley Mills, and I read the first 2 books a couple of years back because I said, you know what, I need to read these books. But yes, it's a series. If you don't know about the Glad game, it's basically, you know, this girl, she has suffered, she's an orphan. I can't tell you what happens in the second book at all, so I'll just keep that to myself. But the first book, you know, she creates this Glad game where she tries to help people and make them understand that they need to enjoy their life, even if it's got hardships. She tries to make them think about all the good things they have. And that's how I've always taken my life, is trying to think of all the good things, and it keeps me positive. So Pollyanna, you are amazing. But I need to read your 3rd and 4th book, so I'm going to actually do that this spring. There are actually 6 books in this series. Probably won't read the 5th book till next year. But the 3rd book is called Pollyanna and the Orange Blossoms. And I said, blossoms, spring. Oh, I'm sorry, of the orange blossoms. And I can't even say really what it's about. Just read the first book. This is going to be hard when I review it because it's hard to say like, oh, well, this is what happens in the book. Pollyanna is an adult now, okay? And they end off the second book very nicely, but now she's grown up. This is written in 1924. This 3rd book was. But I also got the 2nd book because it's attached to the 1st book from when I bought it on my Nook. It's Pollyanna's Jewels. And seems like she becomes a mother. I mean, I'm a mother. I think I'll be able to relate to this one. And I guess when she has her hardships, she'll go through the Glad game to help her out. And the last book on my list, Soulful Simplicity, How Living with Less Can Lead to So Much More. This is a book about simple living. Let's see what it says on the back of this book. We are often on a quest for more, be it more things, more experiences, or more professional success. For Carver, this constant striving was forced to a halt when she was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. Stress was like gasoline on the fire of symptoms, and it became clear that she needed to root out the physical and psychological clutter that were the source of her debt and discontent. In this book, she shows us how to pursue practical minimalism so we could create more with less, more space, more time, and even more love. Carver invites us to look at the big picture, discover what's more important to us, and reclaim lightness and ease by getting rid of excess things. I'm a minimalist, so I haven't read a minimalist book or about simple living in a long time, so we'll see what her story is about. Courtney Carver. And again, look, it had a theme going on. So thank you guys. I hope you tell me what you want to read this spring. Maybe you've read some of these books and can tell me if it's good or not, if you liked it or not, and what's like a must read for you this spring. All right, thank you. Bye. Happy reading.